Welcome back, guys. This is going to be our factory tour video. We have finally completed this factory. I spent the last week kind of going through and changing everything, setting up any overflow lines, trying to make sure that everything's working right. And it's still not 1000% perfect, but it's a lot better than it's been. We're going to start going through, just show you all the rooms, everything this factory can do, what it makes, all the little designs. Throughout the video, though, I will be tagging the video that I made to actually make that part of the factory in the top right corner. So if you're curious about anything, you can always just click on that. You can watch a whole 20-minute video about everything that I did to make that work. So all that being said, guys, we're going to get into it today, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. All right, we're going to start off by going through our highway here. This is just a little design that I came up with, and I think it turned out really good. Judging by the response to the video, it sounded like a lot of people really liked it. If you guys can remember back when I came back to Satisfactory after my little 10-month break, I'll move over for this truck. I actually did a whole video basically fixing all the truck stations and kind of doing everything that I needed to do over here, just to kind of realize that I still didn't like it. We had a lot of conveyor belts that were pretty much running through this whole center part out here, and it really didn't look all that good, and it really bothered me. So we ended up coming up with this a couple of videos later, and we built this whole thing kind of wrapping around the factory, coming along to this side, where it then is sorted out and put through our transfer lines and everything into our factory, supplying the factory. So if you want to check that out, just click in the top right corner. Moving on. Part of completing this highway was doing this little archway here in order to allow pathways to kind of get into our factory, because it did block off the main section of this. When you enter this area, it comes out to our courtyard where we have various miners and stuff. There is a couple nodes here that I didn't end up using. This is an iron node, and I believe there's another node right around here that was not used, but that is for a later project if I decide to add stuff to this. Kind of the key focal point is this concrete refinery stuff I got set up over here using the wet concrete method. This is just, we needed concrete, and I could have did it somewhere else, but I wanted to add something out here and kind of make it look like it isn't just blank out here. So I was trying to add whatever I could figure out. You can see my crude attempts to hide some of the plastic belts that were running from the truck stations originally that were over here. But this was pretty much supposed to be a cover-up, and I needed concrete, so it wound up working pretty good. There's a limestone node right here, so that worked out. And then we had the water. It was pretty much just kind of a given, and I had to overclock it a little bit, but it worked out really good. And then I spent a lot of time trying to add little bits and stuff to make it look like it makes sense. So I've added, frame pillars here, kind of box this whole thing in. Something that's really cool that I liked a lot was I put these boxes here, but I have this belt here that runs right underneath here perfectly. There's a little cutout for it. You get a walkout or a walkway to go over all that, kind of get around wherever you need to. A couple boxes here and there. And I added this little archway thing just to kind of block away the belts and make sure they're not out in the open. I think this turned out really good. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the whole factory, just because it was a little thing that I could spend some time on and try to be creative, use some of the blocks that I've never used before. There is a ladder here, so if you want to climb up to the top, you can. It doesn't fit perfectly, like there's a little bit of a clip here, but it allows you to get up here and kind of be like, oh, I'm up here to work on stuff. But this machine is really loud, so we're gonna get off this before I blow everybody's ears out. Then we added this. This is our first factory to really use trucks for, so we added our big white truck here. This is our mother trucker, kind of like a statue to honor all the trucks that were used to make this factory. It really wasn't a lot, but I thought it was cool, and I think mother trucker's funny, so whatever. Then we have just some more stuff here to kind of add to it. I put a little office back here, but there's really nothing in here. It's just a little place to kind of be like, oh, there's something down here. Maybe I'll put, I don't know, like an awesome seek or something in here, or an awesome shop. Just something dumb. Then over here we have our water extractors. Couldn't think of the name. This is supplying this concrete stuff up here, and it's just, I had this lake and I wanted to use it. Needed to kind of take advantage of what I had out here and just try to do my best to make things work. This lake also goes to this waterfall over here, which is another part of this archway, which I think turned out really good. I like a lot of the stuff out here because it's not so much about Satisfactory. It's just about kind of trying to make it look good and do the best that we could. So I think the outside turned out really good. And we're gonna move on to the inside. So we did end up naming our factory the Big Blue. I couldn't think of anything better. If you guys have a better idea to name this factory, you guys just comment down below, and if I see something that sounds pretty good, I'll make sure to add it. So we have Big Blue. We move right into our copper production. So we have a regular pure node back here that kind of runs to the wall. That doesn't need to be here. So we have a regular pure node that kind of supplies all of this. It's our copper sheets for our circuit boards back there. At our second level, everything moved up here is all copper wires, and then from there it moves on to the next level, which is all the wires and stuff. So this ends up getting sorted and everything, and then we have our overflow right here with our smart slitter, and it's heading up that way to start working on our computers. We go back down to the main level. We do have a little walkway here. I just don't like using it because I like my jetpack, but I did try to make ways to get up to everywhere. From there we move on to our storage room. This is another big video that we did. If you want to check that out, it's in the top right corner, but pretty much it's pretty standard storage. There's a whole system back behind it that I can show you guys, but it is just collecting all of the resources that we have throughout our factory. So we have all these down here. We have 3 more up there just to kind of get everything sorted and nice and organized. And it was the first time I've ever built like a true storage room as opposed to just having a chest kind of laid down somewhere and just kind of cramming everything into it. So I really like the way that this turned out. Fun little fact here, our copper sheets is actually not included in this because when I was making that video I completely forgot to account for them. So there's no way to get copper sheets over here except for pulling it out of the actual constructors. It's really isn't a problem because I never really need copper sheets, and if I really have to get them, I can go get them from the other factory, so that's not that big of a deal. In this room we have a bunch of different ways to go. We're going to start off by getting over this way. This moves into another really big project I did. This is probably the longest video I've ever posted, but this are heavy modular frames. This is a big part of this factory, is just running these 3 manufacturers that are all making heavy modular frames. So in total this is producing 6 heavy modular frames a minute, which made it be like the biggest number you ever seen. Like, you've probably seen some factories that produce a lot, but in terms of anything that I've ever did, this is the most manufacturers ever ran out of a single facility, and also had it look this good. So we did a lot of time. We made this room way bigger than we needed to, just to kind of be able to add a lot of this stuff in here and make it look nice and pretty, because I wanted these manufacturers to be a big part of the factory. Over here we have our cased industrial beams. This is kind of receiving the concrete that we had from before, which I'll show you the transfer tunnels at the end, and as well as the steel pipes, which we have the production I'll show you kind of later on. There is lights in here, if you can see, but right now they're set up on night only, so they're not going to show in the middle of the day. Then back here we have this is like a transfer tunnel, or kind of an elevator for a bunch of resources. A lot of this stuff is coming up and down from the top level to here, and it's just pretty much a lot of this is just transporting stuff from upstairs down in here or into our overflow lines. So all these manufacturers are fed from underneath, which allows it to be as clear as it is in here. Over here we have our iron smelters. This is all smelting iron that is being transported over to our steel production up there. We used an alternative steel recipe that allows us to use iron ingots instead of iron ore. That gives us 1.5 steel as opposed to just a 1-for-1. So we end up utilizing that to kind of get us enough steel to run the factory like we wanted to, and that's what all this is here. I didn't like the way this turned out. I'm still kind of iffy on it. I don't like the way the smoke comes out of it, but there's just somewhere to put it that I can kind of be like, oh, there's something else in here. This is kind of back behind the scenes. Back behind the scenes is pretty messy. That's why we got it covered up and not perfect. As you can see, not all of this is blue. Still has some more color coding to do, but I knew once I started this video that I would go through and start to see all the things that I missed. So just gonna ignore that. I added this little staircase here. This should allow us to, okay, if I can even stay on it, allows us to get up to this level, which is pretty much the exact same thing as it was down there. It's the back of some smelters. And we're gonna keep moving on. Kind of the last cool thing that I have in here is underneath here I use these frame foundations to allow to run some belts back and forth. It's a little hard to tell, but we have iron ore right here. We have compacted coal going down the middle, and then we have our packaged fuel right here that's being transported from our other truck station back there through to our other station here. So we head up to this level. We move on to our truck station that we talked about. Here we have an interesting little sorting system that pretty much takes compacted coal and coal and merges them and splits them, and then has the overflow line set up to get rid of anything that is there. This is our coal line. It kind of runs through and heads up to the top up here, and then our compacted coal over the top goes down and into that line down there. Well, that's what that all looks like out here. Oh, you're gonna notice there's a lot of signs, and something I did in my other factory that I really liked is the outside's scary. I don't want to go outside. I want to stay inside forever. So outside's scary. I'm gonna show you guys this side of the factory. I think it turned out pretty good. I like all the windows and the different levels and everything. This is one of my favorite sides of the factory. I think the front looks cool, but as opposed to everything else, I think this turned out really, really good as well. So we're gonna keep moving on. So our storage room is kind of like our focal point of our factory, and kind of you can get everywhere from here. So we're gonna go ahead and head up this way. We'll do this room first, actually. So this is another smelter room. This is using two 240 nodes to smelt a lot of iron. A lot of this is being used for our iron rods and our screw production. This over here is being used for our iron plates above this room, which I'll show you in a second. So just a bunch of smelters. You come back here into this room. This room probably needs some lights, but this is all iron rods, and a lot of them. All these iron rods run back into here and they're getting merged through the wall. Not the best, but it's through the wall, and it gets lifted up in the next room, which is all screws, which the screw room is honestly pretty insane. So I'll show you guys that in a second. If we go back into our storage room, we can head up this little ramp here. This brings us to a pathway where we can either head upstairs. Before we do that, we want to enter our circuit board room. So in here, we just have a couple of assemblers that are making circuit boards. The plastic is not getting in here as fast as it should, so I got to work on that a little bit. But for the most part, the truck is bringing plastic in. It goes in here, it sorts it, does all the stuff, and then it'll bring the plastic into here where it makes circuit boards. Our circuit boards end up running off into this room to supply our computer manufacturer, which is also weighted on plastic. So the plastic is still a problem, but I'm going to get that worked out. Back here, we have a little bit of a mess, but I did my best to kind of organize everything that I needed to kind of make sure that it's all running right and try to make it look as good as possible. So this is what I came up with. In the future, I'm probably going to do the underneath method. I did this before. I was really kind of under the impression of being able to do it like that, so I did my best, and I think it turned out okay, but I think in the future I'm definitely going to try to feed it from underneath, because that looks way better. So that's pretty much all this room. We head back this way. We can go back upstairs, which this takes us to our iron place that we were talking about. This is just kind of crammed in this room. It's kind of a small room. There's a lot in here for the size of the room. It was just perfect amount of space to kind of get everything run. Our iron plates are used to make our reinforced plates, which are used for our heavy modular frames. So you kind of have all this stuff up here. Just a nice little circle. You can run around it. You can go downstairs if you want to. There's a couple openings and a couple different ways to go. If you go through here, this takes us back to our heavy modular frames, which pretty much the only stuff that's in here is you can go back into the storage room, which is technically the power room up here, which I'll show you in a second. And then we have our actual catwalk up here where we can walk through our heavy modular frame assemblers, our assemblers and heavy modular frames and stuff. Just kind of see everything that's up here. If we head back into our iron plates room, here we go into our screw production, which this video was a whole debacle, and this is actually kind of one of the first videos that ever did really, really good. My channel is the first video that ever hit 1,000 views, so that was pretty nice. But this is just a whole lot of constructors making all the iron rods that are coming in here into screws. This is kind of one of those things where I just crammed so much into this room that I don't even like it, really. For the function and the purpose of it, it works, but it definitely not the way to do things, and I probably will never try to do it like this again. I just needed a ton of screws. So moving on from here, we can go back into our power room up here. This is just a nice little thing. Out here is our resource sinks, which goes behind our storage. I'll show you that at the end with kind of our maintenance area. We have our other three crates I was talking about for our sword and everything. And up here we have our power room, and that video did pretty good too. That was our second video to get 1,000 views. It's just really, really nice. But this is kind of everything that we have, so we can shut off everything we really need. We have our main shut off right here. We pretty much had to rework the entire power grid in the video to be able to just shut everything down. So with that one flip, everything down there, everything in this room, the entire factory shut down just off of one switch, which is really, really nice. From there, we moved on and was able to kind of isolate all the different stuff. So we have the outside power, car production, the lights, the heavy modular frame room. We have all of our stuff over here, our iron floors, our screws, our assemblers, steel production, computers. So if we wanted to, we can go to our car production, just flip this switch, and now we have this shut off. So there's not a whole lot of cases where this is really super useful, but just in terms of if we ever need it, it's here. So that's a really, really important thing to have in any factory that you set up. From this room, we can move on to our next step, which would be kind of moving upstairs. This is just kind of a small little area over here. We have our hyper tube exit, which takes us out to the end of our highway. There's another access into our copper production room. This is our truck station up here at the end of the highway. So all the truck station runs down there and ends up over here. Oh, there's this truck. So here it's bringing in rubber and our plastic and everything. We also have our compacted coal that's on this one right here. So it comes in and drops off our plastic and our rubber, and then it picks up the compacted coal and it takes it back over to the other factory. We have it kind of being sorted. Any overflow gets trashed. We have our fuel production coming in from a different truck station over here. So this runs to our garage at our first factory over there, which is getting all of our fuel, filling this up, and then this is how we supply all the trucks for this side and that side. If we go back inside, we can see our start of our steel production. You can see our little thing up here. So we'll go up here because it's kind of a dead end. But this is making all of our steel pipes, which is everything that we pretty much need to supply the heavy modular frames, which is a lot. This is making all of our steel pipes, and then we have all of our foundries up here. So we have our iron ingots coming in, we have our coal that's being brought in from our truck station over there, and this was another pretty hefty project, but it turned out really, really good, so that's all that matters. But after autosave kind of chunks me here, oh, there it goes. Okay. Then we have this room up here, which is our manufacturer parts. This is pretty much the top of that elevator from the manufacturer room, and it has all of the stuff being made up here. So I added a couple more things to kind of organize this room. I added this little catwalk so we can get from where we were at before to over here. And then I've organized a lot of this stuff and added some couple accents here. So I moved the screws from our steel production kind of over here. This pretty much runs right through this wall. The leftover foundries run into here, and the extra steel that we have is actually being used to make screws right now. This isn't optimized, and I can make a lot more screws than I'm actually making right now. So in the future, I might worry about that, but for right now, it's fine. Don't really have any reason to use it, so it's just here if I need it. Then we have the excess runs along this wall. This is our overflow line that takes us to our actual storage system. Then we have our screws that are actually being ran down here. This is what's supplying all of our computers. Not computers, sorry, heavy modular frames. So this is the top of that elevator right here. And we have our regular modular frames kind of being supplied to that as well. This is concrete. This is coming from all the way at the bottom to being brought into this overflow line. So this also is being ran over to the storage. Oh wow, look at that. That is wild. There's just a random Mark 1 right there. Alright, let's try to fix this real quick. That's probably causing a bunch of issues. We'll color code it too to make it better. See, even when you think you're done with the factory, there's always one little 1 meter Mark 1 belt that's always giving you trouble. Well, now that we got that fixed, we can move on with the video. So these assemblers over here are using our adhered iron plate, which is using the rubber from the truck station down there. We could have used the screw recipe to make a lot more of these quicker and had less of these assemblers, but I would have to add a bunch more screw production, which basically would add all this stuff over here, make this whole side all screw production, pretty much exactly what I had down there. There's going to be a whole debacle. So what I ended up doing was I just used the rubber because that seemed to make the most sense. And this produces all the reinforced iron plates that can get moved over to here, which all run into this over here, which is our modular frame setup. So this uses most of the screws that are coming off of this line and some of the screws that are coming from down below, kind of being merged into one. And with all these, it's able to make the heavy modular or regular modular frames that kind of runs through this little transfer line underneath here, and then into our elevators over here. So that's pretty much the top and everything that's up here. I'm going to show you the roof real quick. So in our steel room here, we got a little thing that brings us up to the roof. The roof we're using to just kind of transfer some more stuff in a little bit more organized sense. It's not perfect, but this pretty much brings screws and stuff from where it's at over to here. This goes into the sorting system down below, which I'll show you in a second. Then the last thing that's up here is just this little resource sink. We have some space up here if we ever want to use it, but this is pretty much everything that's up here. It's just one resource sink for overflow for our screws. I thought about going really in depth and trying to make all the screws overflowed, but for the most part it seems like they're at least going somewhere, so that's the important thing. So I'm going to leave that as it is for now, and we're going to go into the last part of our video. So we come back outside of our factory and we kind of see this nice view, but something that I did that was a little project of mine is I wanted to add something nice to the factory. Just something that doesn't really has any utilization, but something that's important to me. So I came over here, we had another archway, we added some stuff here. We have our copper production, this is that pier node that supplies all that. And then over here, we added a little swing. This swing is just a little reminder to thank everybody for 100 subs. I never thought that I would get 10 subs, let alone 100, and it means the world to me. So I just want to say thank you guys for all the support and everything that you've been doing, the comments, the likes, everything has been phenomenal for you guys, and I really appreciate all of you. So I just want to say thank you, and just build a little thing to kind of remember what we did here, and this factory and the motivation to keep building it would not happen if it was not for you guys. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. It makes my day when I wake up and I see a new subscriber or I see somebody comment something nice. It's just, I really appreciate everything that you guys have done, and I thank you. It's not enough to begin with it. So we have one more thing to do today, and then we'll be ending the video. With our other factory finished, there's really nothing more for me to do. I mean, I can build another factory, I can do more fuel stuff, but pretty much the only thing to do now is to move on to phase 4, which is going to be aluminum and nuclear and all the crazy stuff. So we've collected all of our project parts, and we're now going to move over to our thing and ship all this off to fix it, so we can start getting our next tier list and everything up. We're going to hover all the way over here. This got kind of jammed back in here for the update, and now it's halfway fused in here, and I don't want to move it because I kind of like that it's stuck in this little rock thing. So we're going to go ahead and put everything in here. Alright, this is going to take longer than I thought, so hold on, let me do some magic. Okay, now that we have everything in here, we can seal it. Send it off. We've now unlocked phase 4. So the videos are going to get a lot more interesting with everything that we have going on. So I have no idea what I'm going to do next. And honestly, I've never really played phase 4 for more than like maybe a couple hours because it just gets so complicated. So I'm going to enjoy melting my brain so you guys can enjoy some videos. I just want to thank you guys one more time for all the support. And if you guys hit the like goal, we'll have phase 4 video come out Saturday. You get at least 15 likes by the end of Friday night, and if you guys can do that, I'll post another video. So thank you guys for everything that you've done and all the support, and I'll talk to you guys later.